and ask God for help. Lord, help me to promote harmony. Help me to promote harmony. And help me to be a part of the sheep and love them and care for them. And help me to work to build up the church. But now notice, if you will, back in our chapter here in 1 Peter chapter 5. Now watch. The elders which are among you. Look down in verse 2. Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, neither being lords over God's heritage, but being examples unto the flock. Watch now. The pastor is to be over the flock, but among the flock. You got that? The pastor is to be among the flock, but over the flock. You can't have two heads in one home. You can't have two pastors, three pastors. You've got to have one pastor. Now you can have associates, but you can only have one pastor. The deacons are not the pastors, and God doesn't call the deacons to lead the church, to be the pastor. Now He does call them to assist the pastor and to assist the congregation. A wise pastor will, yes, I'm over the flock, but I'm among the flock. A wise pastor will work with the deacons, not against them. I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, in 51 years, I think I've had two rotten deacons. Two rotten deacons. Most of the deacons I've worked with were godly men, good men that love the church, love their families. Now, I know this is not an evangelistic message, and I know this is not a yah-yah, hoorah kind of a message. I know that. Oh, and by the way, sometimes God calls the pastor to preach messages of different temperaments and different settings and in different ways. And that's his responsibility. And he can't worry about, well, he's a great orator. He can't worry about that. He's got to preach the truth. Now watch. He's to be among, but he's to be over. He's to do it willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Now, any preacher that's in it for the money is not a true preacher. Not a true preacher. I started out 2 years with no salary whatsoever. None. Then I preached for about 5 or 6 years with about $100 a week salary, $150 a week salary. Sue worked, I worked. And then as the church grew, they added to that. Then I went off to another church, and they had a larger salary, another a larger salary, and another one a much larger salary because it was a much bigger church. And now I'm in a smaller church, but I can say honestly, before God, the money is not the idea. The money is not the thing. Because if I'm in it for the money, if any preacher's in it for the money, he should resign and leave and go work at Walmart, Kmart, somewhere. See that, Carolyn? I got Kmart in there. I got that. I want to make sure now. That I wasn't, okay. See what I'm trying to say? But then on the other hand, you got to remember something. And I'm going to say this to you. Listen to me now. Listen to me now. Because one day the Lord will lead me away. I hope we all go to heaven first, but the Lord may lead me away or I may die. You're going to be looking for another pastor. Keep on doing what you've done and take care of him. Now, Paul said that a pastor that's faithful and preaches the word's worthy of double honor. In other words, take care of him. Now, if he's in it for the money, and if he's a tyrant, and if he is fleecing the flock, or if he's doing it for filthy lucre, or he's lording over God's heritage, that's a different thing. But if he's doing his best to be an example to the flock, you take care of him. Work together. Now, I'm going to say something that might make you mad. And I'm going to close in just a moment. There are many Baptist churches that do not want a pastor. They want a preacher to preach to them on Sunday morning. That's all they want. They just want a preacher to preach to them. You know why? Well, we don't have enough money for a full-time pastor. There's churches in Granger County and Jefferson County right now with part-time pastors, bivocational, that could have a full-time pastor. But they don't want to. They don't want to put the money out. Let me tell you something. A church that runs pastors off, runs pastors off, and runs pastors off. You have one person that wants to run the church, one family that wants to run the church. Just all disgruntled, causing trouble all the time. Won't be long that church will die. It won't be long that church will have all kind of problems. So let's say in closing, let's thank God for the gift that He's given us. Let's thank God for the gifts that He's given the church. And let's work to build the body of Christ. Build it up so that it can take the gospel to the world. Would you stand with me, please?